There was once a 17-year-old who was sold into slavery by his jealous brothers. You know his name, Joseph, our Jewish ancestor. And when he finally rose to the pinnacle of power in Egypt, he could not wait for a chance to take revenge upon his cruel brothers. He wanted it so badly, he could almost taste it. And then, remember, his dream was answered. The land of Canaan was afflicted with famine. So Joseph's brothers came to Egypt to find food for their families and households. Hearing of their visit, Joseph orders them to appear at the court of the Pharaoh for a personal appearance with him. When they arrive, they're terrified. They had no idea why they were called by the vice president equivalent of Egypt. So many years had passed, they couldn't possibly recognize Joseph. His appearance had radically changed, and Joseph made his brothers beg and plead for their lives. He taunted them. He confused them. He threatened them. He humiliated them. And then a very strange thing happened. Joseph realized that he was not enjoying this revenge one bit. For years, he had hoped for this moment. For so long, he had prayed for it. And then once he had it, he couldn't stand it. He felt cheap. He felt miserable. You remember what he did? He ordered everyone out of Pharaoh's court except the brothers. And then when they were all alone in the quiet and privacy of that precious moment, he broke down and cried. He wept so bitterly, we're told in the Torah, his cry could be heard throughout the entire palace of the Pharaoh. And then after he cried, he turned to his brothers and he said 3 words in Hebrew. Ani Yosef achicha, I am Joseph, your brothers. And then he said 3 more words, a question. Od Avinu Chai, is our father still alive? Then he hugged his brothers, he embraced them and told them he no longer bore any grudge against them. He discovered that it felt so much better to forgive them than to let anger, bitterness, sadness eat him up alive on the inside. Now, we won't be reading that Torah story in the Torah portion cycle until after Hanukkah this year, on December 15th. But I can't think of a better message as one Jewish year winds down and a new one begins 1 week from Sunday. We come here on this Shabbat Slichot, and every new year we're privileged to witness with a choice between holding on to anger or letting it go. Who among us has not been hurt? Maybe not as painfully as Joseph, maybe more, but painfully enough to make us ache and cry and lose sleep and get mad. Perhaps a husband or wife or other partner has hurt us. Perhaps a parent has failed us. Perhaps a child let us down. Perhaps a friend disappointed or insulted us. Perhaps at work, someone lied to us. We can all probably think of some person we keep our distance from because of a hurt we haven't let go of. And what about the people we've hurt and who deserve our sincere apologies, but we're too stubborn to simply say, I'm really sorry. Can you forgive me, so that we can move on? Every year at this time, in Jewish time, we are faced with the same question. It's not, what are we eating on Rosh Hashanah Eve? It's not, is it matzah balls or chopped liver? The question is, what are we going to do with our hurt? Are we going to fill ourselves with bitterness, resentment, anger? Or are we going to put it all behind us and forgive the people who treated us badly and ask forgiveness from the people we may have hurt, even if they won't forgive us? Are we going to keep on being unforgiving, or are we going to make next Sunday Eve a new start? The time to start. I urge everyone to cast your vote for a new start, not because a rabbi said so, and not for the sake of being a martyr or a moral giant, but for the sake of your own mental well-being, your own spiritual well-being. We can all change with Joseph, who changed with God from a standard of judgment and anger to a standard of forgiveness, compassion, and peace. And this Jewish teaching, my friends, is for all people, not Jews alone. Even a wise Indian elder once described his inner struggle in similar terms. He reported that inside him are two powerful dogs. One of them is kind and open-hearted. The other is mean and selfish. These two dogs, he said, fight and wrestle with each other all the time. Someone asked the Indian elder, which of the two dogs win? He replied, the one that wins is the one I feed the most. The upcoming high holiday season is the Jewish time to acknowledge that everyone in this chapel has a choice. Which part of our being are we going to feed the most? The kind and the open-hearted, or the selfish and hard-hearted? Whichever we feed the most will certainly win. I want to close with one of my favorite passages in our new High Holy Day prayer book we're going to get to hold next Sunday evening. It reads, "We cannot control the unexpected blows that will affect our families, our jobs, even our health in the year ahead. But we can control how we live with them. Teshuvah, cultivating a spiritual life and returning to Jewish wisdom and Torah. Tefillah, cultivating gratitude and connecting to transcendent values. And tzedakah, cultivating generosity and pursuing justice. These three, guaranteed, will mitigate any bad in the year ahead. Teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah, the reading goes, will not stop stock market crashes or disease or other blows that come our way. But teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah can radically transform how we are affected by any blow we experience in life. L'shana tova u'metuka uvriya, which means may the new year about to dawn be filled with goodness, sweetness, health, joy, blessing, and love. And let us say, Amen.